It's time for Dodger Baseball. Live from Dodger Stadium, Prime Ticket presents the Dodgers as they take on the Cincinnati Reds. Hi, everybody, and a very pleasant Monday evening to you, wherever you may be. The Reds arrive 1 game in front of Pittsburgh. The Dodgers here 1 game back of the Giants and 4 in front of the Arizona Diamondbacks. The pitching, Chad Billingsley with a record of 4-7 has been struggling of late. On the mound, Homer Bailey for Cincinnati. Bailey on the road has won 3 in a row. The Reds have won 4 straight of the games he has started on the road. Personnel changes for the Dodgers. Sean Tolleson has gone back to the minors. Ted Lilly has been put on the 60-day DL. And the Dodgers have brought up Luis Cruz to play shortstop, at least tonight. D. Gordon went out yesterday with a severe cramp in the leg. With all of that, we'll get to the ball game and a whole lot more right after this. I invite you to come test drive the 35 miles per gallon Highway 2012 Sonata. Visit mysocalhyundai.com. By AT&T, the nation's largest 4G network. AT&T, rethink possible. By CarMax, start the search for your next car at CarMax. And by Dodge.
Aerial coverage brought to you today by Hangar One, made in California in an actual aircraft hangar. Moments away from Dodger baseball on another beautiful night here at the stadium, along with Kenny Lofton, Steve Lyons, and Patrick O'Neill. The results are in, and the Dodgers have their all-stars once again, Matt Kemp and Clayton Kershaw. Certainly a case could be made for Andre Ethier. I think we all agree that Chris Capuano should have been there as well. But Kenny, are we looking at a case right now where you have Clayton Kershaw and Matt Kemp as all-stars for the next 10 years?
Pretty much. All these guys have to do is go out there and just do what they do for years, because they're some good players, and you can see it, because consistently, if you're consistent, you're going to be on the All-Star game.
Yeah, it'd be amazing to be the type of player that when you just go out and have the kind of year that everyone expects you to have, you're an all-star.
Yeah.
Most guys really have to strive to get there. These guys, that's just the way they play. They're all-star caliber players when they fall out of bed. We've seen that for the last few years with these guys. Capuano should have been on the team as well. The voting system is ridiculously flawed right now. You don't have to search any farther than San Francisco to figure that out with Sandoval.
You mean how they cheated to get all their guys in? Oh,
it's great. With all the voting, the internet is just not the way it's supposed to be done anymore. But every team has snubs. If you look at these guys over here, they think Johnny Cueto should be on the team.
Yeah.
And he's not.
Hey, you know what? Credit those Giants and the fans. They did what they had to do to get their players in. We look forward to seeing you after the game on Dodgers Live. Until then, enjoy it.
You can try the new Chipotle Chicken Club combo for just $4.99 plus tax. By San Manuel Indian Bingo and Casino, now celebrating 26 years of fun. Visit sanmanuel.com for details. By the amazing Spider-Man in theaters July 3rd. And by Time Warner Cable. Hi, everybody, and a very pleasant Monday evening to you, wherever you may be. It's a gorgeous evening here in Southern California. Light powder blue sky. Dusty Baker, the rage of Riverside. He's here with his Cincinnati Reds, a first-place team, leading Pittsburgh by 1. Dusty's club has given the Dodgers a bad time of late. They've beaten them 4 straight and 5 of the last 6 here at Dodger Stadium. They're on a so-so road trip. They split 4 in San Francisco. They have 7 left on the trip, the 3-game series here, and they'll finish up with a 4-game series in San Diego. For the Reds, here's the way Dusty's lineup card looks. Zach Cozart, a solid shortstop, leads off. Drew Stubbs in center field, and Brandon Phillips at second base. The All-Star, Jay Bruce, will be in right field. Todd Frazier at third base. Chris Heise is in left field. Miguel Cairo at first base, replacing the injured Joey Votto. All Votto did was hit .393 in the month of June, but he hurt his leg sliding, so he can't play tonight. Might appear as a pinch hitter, and we figure to see him during the next couple of days. Joey's sitting back talking to one of his teammates, but he is such an outstanding player. We certainly hope he'll be back in the lineup tomorrow and again on Wednesday. On the mound for the Dodgers, Chad Billingsley. kind of wanting to turn things around. Billingsley has lost 3 in a row, 1-1 this year and 5-3 lifetime against the Reds. But he starts with a record of 4-7 and an ERA that has ballooned up a bit. So Chad ready, and the leadoff man is Zach Cozart, and Zach takes low, ball 1-0. Cozart out of Mississippi, the state and the university, although he lives now in Collierville, Tennessee, hitting .245, slices one foul off to the right down the line and well out of play. Cozart with 8 home runs, 16 runs batted in. Hitting back of him would be Drew Stubbs and then Brandon Phillips. He bunts, does Cozart. He has 3 bunt singles, so they have to be careful that way. The 1-1 pitch, full swing foul off his foot. 1-2 the count to Zach Cozart. He went to the University of Mississippi on a college scholarship. When he got there as a freshman, the first thing they made him do is bleach his hair blonde. So he did that every month for 3 years at the university. 1-2 pitch is fouled away. So Zach is still there. 6'1", about 195. August of last year, he had the Tommy John surgery, but he's had a lot of problems playing the game, including sprained ankle, shoulder surgery, hyperextended left elbow. The next pitch to him is just inside, and the count runs to 2-2 By the way, you wonder about the quick recovery of Zach Cozart. We should drop that in. He had the Tommy John surgery on the non-throwing arm. Here's the 2-2 pitch, and that's promptly hit into right field for a base hit. So Cozart, who is doing a tremendous job at shortstop for the Reds, hangs in, gets a lot of pitches, keeps fouling them off, and then singles to right. So Cozart at first, and Drew Stubbs checking in. Drew Stubbs hitting just .227, 8 home runs, 19 runs batted in. Out of Texarkana, Texas, and lives in Austin now. Went to the university. He was a first-round pick as Cozart takes his lead at first. Billingsley ready and delivers, and the pitch in for a strike, and the count 0-1. Cozart has stolen 2. The Reds are really not a running ball club at all. The only fellow who really runs is at the plate, Drew Stubbs, who has stolen 16 out of 20. So 0-1 the count. A throw to first, Cozart back on the bag. So Billingsley giving up the leadoff single. If you wonder about the Giants, they're off today, and they'll be playing Washington tomorrow night with Tim Lincecum and Jordan Zimmerman going head-to-head. Strike 1 pitch on the way is swung on and missed to the plate, and the count 0-2. Dodgers and Reds have something similar. They've done very well in the first inning. The Reds have scored 52 runs for Dusty in the first inning, and the Dodgers have scored 53 in the first inning for Don Mattingly. So with Cozart at first, nobody out, 0-2 the count to Drew Stubbs. He swings and doesn't get it, and down he goes. So 1 away in the first inning, and Brandon Phillips coming up. A little breaking ball, and he went right over it with his swing. Brandon Phillips coming up. What kind of a memory do you have? You remember 2 years ago the Reds were playing the Cardinals, tough pennant race, and Brandon Phillips came up to hit and tapped Yadier Molina on the shin guards after having already said he hated the Cardinals. And that started a brouhaha and eventually quite a brawl. And among other things, the pitcher, Johnny Cueto, whom we'll see tomorrow night, Cueto was accused during the brawl of kicking Jason LaRue in the head. Well, anyway, needless to say, some bad feeling between the Reds and the Cardinals, and I guess it kind of spilled over with the managers, Tony La Russa and Dusty Baker. And of course, Tony La Russa now the manager of the All-Star team for the National League. Pitch to Brandon Phillips, in for a strike, and the count 0-1. Well, to sum it all up, Dusty and the Reds are quite angry at La Russa for leaving Brandon Phillips off the All-Star team and also leaving Johnny Cueto off, who's 9-3. They accuse La Russa of holding a grudge against the players, and it goes on, but now you're up to date. So Phillips with Cozart drawing throws over at first, and Brandon, the veteran hitter, waiting at the plate, batting .285, 10 home runs, and 46 runs batted in. So Brandon Phillips checks in. He's been very, very good in advancing runners from second. He has grounded into 13 double plays. The next pitch is in for a strike. 1 ball and 1 strike to count to Brandon Phillips out of North Carolina and Georgia. There are 31 members of the 30-30 club. Only 2 have been second basemen, Alfonso Soriano and Brandon Phillips. The other Reds, Eric Davis and Barry Larkin. And of course, Larkin is going into the Hall of Fame. Phillips swings, fouls the next pitch away. So Brandon's still there, 1-2. A.J. Ellis bitten by that foul ball. Big, high, lazy breaking ball, and it hit Ellis square in the mask. But he's okay. So Brandon Phillips waiting at the plate. A dangerous hitter by far. Doesn't walk very often. Maybe 5% of all the trips he makes to the plate will he ever walk. 1-2 the count. Cozart, who singled at first. 1 out, first inning, no score. Very light breeze blowing towards right from left. The next pitch ties him up on the inside corner. Strike 3 called. So Brandon Phillips unable to catch up to a great pitch inside part of the plate. He checks swing, pays the price, and down he goes. And the batter now is the All-Star for the Reds, who is playing tonight, and that would be Jay Bruce. I mentioned Joey Votto, of course, made the All-Star club, but he's not in the lineup with the sore knee. So Jay Bruce hitting .257, 17 home runs, 54 runs batted in. What the Dodgers do, they give Bruce second base. In other words, they're not overly shifted except for Hairston. Hairston is out into right field, and with the first baseman Loney holding the corner, there's nobody on the right side of the infield. Granted, Luis Cruz way over to his left, but not quite behind second base, and Bruce fouls it away. Couple of notes about Bruce as he checks in. He is a fly ball hitter for sure. 3rd lowest rate of ground balls. He's very good at scoring a man from third with less than 2 out. As far as the count is concerned, he's on a hole now, 0-2. So Bruce, big boy out of Beaumont, Texas. The strike 2 pitch on the way. Jay, the left-hand hitter, it's a high chopper coming in to get it from right field as Hairston to throw him out. So 2 things, the Dodgers set for a fly ball at least, and instead Bruce did what he rarely does and grounds out. The end of half an inning, no score. Cozart at first base. We'll take a look now at Don Mattingly's lineup for the Dodgers to come up. Elian Herrera in center field. A.J. Ellis behind the plate. Gary Hairston at second base, and Juan Rivera hits cleanup in right field. James Loney at first. Juan Uribe at third. Scott Van Slyke in left field. Luis Cruz just brought up at short. Chad Billingsley the pitcher, and Homer Bailey on the mound, which is quite a name for a pitcher. And the big right-hander's first pitch in for a strike, 0-1. Homer Bailey is 6'4", maybe 215, somewhere in that area. His father is named David Bailey, which is also his name. So that caused a little bit of confusion in the Bailey household. The pitch is off the plate, 1-1. So they decided to call him after his great-grandfather. Little did he know he was going to grow up and be a baseball pitcher with the name of Homer. The 1-1 pitch is fouled away. 1-2 the count to Herrera. batting .247, 15 runs batted in. Dodgers, having finally salvaged a victory against the Mets, remain 1 game behind the Giants, 4 in front of Arizona. The 1-2 pitch on the way. Herrera takes a little high, and the count 2-2. So D. Gordon, who left yesterday's game with a cramp, now will sit this one out, at least this one, as the Dodgers take a look at Luis Cruz. 2-2 pitch on the way, chased and missed. It was down and away. Herrera went after it, 1 away, and the batter will be A.J. Ellis. Dodgers are facing a pretty hot pitcher in Homer Bailey. He has led the Reds to victory in each of his last 4 road starts, and tough opponents: Atlanta, the Yankees, Pittsburgh, and the Mets. So he's 3-0. The team is 4-0. Over that special time, his earned run average is 1.8, and the opposition was hitting .209 against him. So Bailey working on Ellis, and the first pitch is low, ball 1, 1-0 the count. Ellis batting .287, half a dozen home runs, 27 runs batted in. Bailey right back with a fastball low, and he's behind 2-0. Homer Bailey, among other things, has been hurt by his bullpen. His record is 5-6, but the pen had 3 games that he should have won get away. Now the 2-0 pitch on the way to Ellis, and that one is low, so he's behind 3-0. One reason that he might be trying to keep the ball down and too low, he has given up 14 home runs, and waiting on deck, Jerry Hairston. 3-0 pitch finds the mark, and the count 3-1. For Bailey, he allows some home runs. He's not a strikeout pitcher. He has stopped the running game. The teams were 7 out of 8 against him. Fastball fouled away to make it 3-2. In his career, right-handers hit .275 and left-handers .271. He needs runs to win, however. He's not the kind of a pitcher who will win if he's not given a bunch. 3-2 pitch on the way is swung on, ground ball to short. Nice pick there, and the throw easy by Zach Cozart, and we have 2 down in the first inning. That will bring up Jerry Hairston. A couple of other notes about the right-hander. In the beginning of the game, you start counting his pitches. First 75 pitches, the opposition hitting .271. Then after the 75 pitches, it drops down to .233. So the theory is you've got to get him early. And once he gets 76 pitches under his belt, the opposition is hitting only .235. So here's Hairston batting .297. Jerry takes low, ball 1. 1-0 the count as the Dodgers open up game 1 of a 3-game series against Cincinnati, and then they will spend a 4-game series in Arizona. Arizona's been playing very good ball at home. The 1-0 pitch is whacked to left field down the line. All eyes on the plate umpire. Home run for Jerry Hairston. As we mentioned, he does give up home runs, and that's the 15th. So the Dodgers, on a 2-out home run by Jerry Hairston, have a 1-0 lead as Jerry hits it right down the line. For the Dodgers as a team, only their 46th home run. For Hairston, it would be his 3rd. So he just does clear the seats. It lands in the corner of the bullpen, and the Dodgers out in front 1-0. For Jerry Hairston, his 3rd home run. The last one was in Seattle. So here's Juan Rivera, and the pitch in for a strike, and the count 0-1. Rivera hitting .263, 3 home runs, 25 runs batted in, hitting better than .340 for the last 10 games. He waves at a pitch, badly fooled, 0-2 the count. We mentioned Arizona and the fact that they're losing 1-0 second inning against San Diego. Arizona at home has won 10 of the last 11. They've won 4 straight, and against Cincinnati, against San Diego, they've won 4 out of 6. Strike 2 pitch, slow ground ball to third, waiting for the hop as Frazier throws him out, and that's that. But the Dodgers get a run on the home run by Jerry Hairston, his third of the year, and at the end of an inning, third home run of the year. Dodgers lead 1-0, and we go to the second. Todd Frazier, followed by Chris Heisley, and then Miguel Cairo as Billingsley going to work. Todd Frazier out of Point Pleasant, New Jersey. He was a first-round pick by the Reds out of Rutgers University, and he takes a pitch high, ball one. Frazier is 6'3", 215-pounder. He has a brother, Charlie, drafted by the Marlins, and a brother, Jeff, picked by the Mariners. The 1-0 pitch in for a strike, and the count 1-1. For Todd Frazier, he gained national notoriety when he was 12 years old. He was named the outstanding player in the Little League World Series as Toms River, New Jersey defeated Japan for the world title back in 1998. He was pitcher, shortstop. He said he struck out the last guy. Everybody jumped with joy. And then they had big parades. It was a memorable time for all the kids on that ball club. 2-2 the count. Billingsley, not thinking about the Little League, going after Todd Frazier, hitting .268, 8 home runs, 24 runs batted in. The 2-2 pitch on the way, chased and missed, and down goes Frazier. That would be the third strikeout for Chad Billingsley. By the way, you start talking about the Reds and you keep talking about home runs. Jay Bruce with 17, Ryan Ludwig 11, Brandon Phillips 10, Joe Votto has 14. You do have to remember, of course, they play in a home run park. They've hit 56 home runs at the Great American Ballpark. And if you don't believe it's a home run park, and it's not to diminish them, but there has been at least one home run hit at Great American Park 65 straight games. Now the strike one pitch to Chris Heisey, a big swing and a foul ball out of play, and the count 0-2 to Chris. He's another fellow, although he's up there hacking, is a pretty good bunter, hitting .261. 1-0 in favor of the Dodgers, trying to turn the tables on the Reds. The strike 2 pitch on the way is swung on and foul back. So Heisey with one out and Miguel Cairo hitting back of him. Chris Heisey out of Lancaster, Pennsylvania, went to Messiah College, 17th round pick by the Reds. The strike 2 pitch on the way, taken inside, 1-2 the count. So Billingsley has struck out 3 of the 5 that he has faced. He has given up a base hit and a 1-2 count now on Chris Heisey. Right hand batter, and the 1-2 pitch down and away, 2-2 the count. As far as Heisey was concerned, basketball was his favorite sport. He went to college thinking he'd never get a chance to play pro baseball. Didn't have any scholarships, any offers at all. 2-2 pitch. Chris swings. Big bouncer to third. Uribe is on it. Cranks it up and throws him out. So 2 down in the second inning. And the batter will be Miguel Cairo.
First baseman number 43, Miguel Cairo.
Way back when, Miguel Cairo was Dodger property, but a lot of things have happened since those days. Miguel's from Venezuela, but he lives in Florida now. And he was originally signed by the Dodgers as a free agent back in 1991. So playing for 9 teams over the years, he's had a great career. And Miguel takes a strike. He played with the rookie Dodgers and at Vero Beach, but finally surfaced in the big leagues with the Blue Jays, one of 9 teams. He fouls the next pitch away, and the count 0-2 to Miguel Cairo. Miguel is 6'1", 208-pounder, 38 years old, playing for Joey Votto Votto hit .392 in the month of June, but he has the bad knee and he can't play tonight. Strike 2 pitch is swung on and missed. Down goes Cairo. 4 strikeouts for Chad Billingsley. He's retired 6 in a row, and at the end of an inning and a half, 1-0 Dodgers. In favor of the Dodgers, the home run by Jerry Hairston. It'll be James Loney, Juan Uribe, and Scott Van Slyke in that order against David Bailey, better known as Homer Bailey. And Loney batting .237, checking in. Homer is out of LaGrange, Texas. Grew up on his family's 70,000 chicken, 40-acre egg farm. And that farm was located between LaGrange and Flatonia. I'm sure you know it well. The first pitch to Loney in for a strike. I was thinking of a line that Bette Midler pulled, and it would certainly fit the area between LaGrange and Flatonia. Tell you in a moment. The strike 1 pitch on the way, taken low, 1-1. She said, never do a comedy show in a town where they point at airplanes. Well, that kind of sounds like Flatonia. 1 ball and 1 strike. Loney waiting with a .237 batting average. James has a look at a breaking ball off the plate. 2-1 the count. Don Mattingly, talking about Loney yesterday, said he had 2 very good at-bats yesterday, and hopefully he can build on that. He feels like he's got it, and he promptly bangs one into left center for a base hit. Over to cut it off is Stubbs. So James opens up with a line drive single to left center, and the batter will be Juan Uribe. Don't forget Cap Day at Dodger Stadium. That's tomorrow. The Dodgers and the Reds. Fans with the first 30,000 tickets receive a Dodger Stadium 50th anniversary LA cap presented by Las Vegas. For tickets, visit Dodgers.com/promotion. So Loney with a line drive single, and here is Juan Uribe. It is a rare thing that you would see in the big leagues, and it was a rare thing to see this year. But today, on the 2nd of July, early this afternoon, Juan Uribe was in the batting cage. He takes a strike. Nothing new in a big leaguer being in the batting cage. But he was in the batting cage hitting baseballs off a tee, trying, without flying open, to hit the ball to right field. So we'll see what he does now. No balls and 1 strike. Juan struggling at 2:02. Takes just off the outside corner. 1 ball and 1 strike. 1-0 Dodgers. Bottom of the 2nd inning. Waiting on deck, Scott Van Slyke. So Scott waiting his turn. Uribe with Loney held on at first by Cairo. The next pitch is a little low. 2-1 the count. Young pitching staff. When you look at the Reds, you find that Mike Leake will pitch the final game of the series, 24. Matt Latos is 24. Homer Bailey, 26. Johnny Cueto, 26. 2-1 pitch, and that's low. 3-1 the count. So Bailey is fighting his control. He's been behind on several hitters, even though he's given up just 1 run. 3-1 the count to Juan Uribe. The senior citizen on the Cincinnati starting staff would be Bronson Arroyo. He's 35. And Arroyo leaning forward, just pitched. 3-1, and Uribe takes a look at ball 4. So the Dodgers find themselves first and second, nobody out. Scott Van Slyke, Luis Cruz, and then Chad Billingsley.
Scott Van Slyke.
Van Slyke, as he checks in, having just been called up, batting .194, 1 for 9 since being called back. 1 home run, 6 runs batted in. Out on deck, the Dodgers shortstop for the night, Luis Cruz. The pitch to Van Slyke, off speed, in for a strike, and the count 0-1. Luis Cruz Big fella at 6'1", about 180 to 185, waiting on deck. 0-1 the count to Van Slyke. Out of a stretch goes Bailey, back with a fastball, and that's hit into right center, base hit. Bruce picks it up, and they will stop Loney at third. A throw to second base, and running out of the inning is Juan Uribe. Juan Uribe, for whatever reason, rounded second and was probably hung out to dry, and that puts a little bit of a skid on what looked like a promising start. The throw came in from right fielder Jay Bruce. It was cut off by Miguel Cairo. For some reason, I think Uribe must have been under the impression that Loney would score. So he rounded second, and I mean, he was hung out to dry. The tag easily made by Zach Cozart. So a base running blunder by Uribe, despite a base hit to right. So one out, first and third for the Dodgers. And now here's Luis Cruz. Certainly not his big league debut. He's been with the Pirates for 2 years and the Milwaukee Brewers. He's out of Navajoa in Mexico. Right-hand batter, looks at a strike, and they count 0-1. Luis Cruz, 6'1", as we said, about 180, out of Sonora, Mexico. Meanwhile, Deke Gordon talking to Justin Spires in the Dodger dugout. First and third, one out, 1-0 Dodgers. Homer Bailey struggling since the beginning. Comes back with a breaking ball and a high fly ball to left center. It's playable. Stubbs for the catch. Tagging up and digging for the plate. And just scoring is Loney. So it wasn't that easy. A strong throw from Drew Stubbs in center. But Loney just does get in there. And the Dodgers lead 2-0 on a scoring fly ball by Luis Cruz. So a nice way. Loney just did skid across the plate. Missanako ready to tag him a second time, but the run was in. So Cruz joins the ball club with an RBI. That's the second out of the inning. And the batter now is Chad Billingsley. Fastball to Chad is swung on and missed, and they count 0-1. Billingsley, not a bad hitting pitcher, hitting .231. He has 6 hits, including a double, and 1 run batted in. Strike one pitch to Chad is swung on and missed, 0-2. Dodgers lead 2-0 in the second inning. Dodgers made personnel changes. We mentioned it at the very start. If you missed it, Luis Cruz brought up. Sean Tollison was sent down. Billingsley fouls it away. Ted Lilly was put on the 60-day disabled list. So Mattingly hungry for some attack. And he got a home run from Hairston, and now the fly ball by Cruz to pick up the second run. 2-0 Dodgers in the second. Bailey ready. Homer delivers. It's waved at and missed, and that will do it. Of course, could have been a bigger inning, except for Juan Uribe rounding second. Dodgers will take a 2-0 lead. The Reds will have Devin Mesoraco, then the pitcher Homer Bailey, and the leadoff man Zach Cozart. So Billingsley has allowed 1 hit while striking out 4. Devin Mesoraco out of Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania, certainly broke in for the Reds with a bang. He was another first-round pick 5 years ago. 6'1", a good .220. So a big catcher, pretty much straight up hitter, bent slightly at the knees, fouls the pitch away. In 2010, he was brought up to play at Louisville in the International League, and he had a walk-off grand slam in his first game, and the next night he hit another grand slam. He swings, doesn't get it, and the count 0-2. So Mesoraco certainly had everybody's attention. He's a kid growing up in Pennsylvania who modeled himself after Jason Kendall of the Pirates. Strike 2 pitch on the way, and Devin takes off the plate. just turned 24, middle of June. 1-2 the count. Batting just 200. 4 home runs, 9 runs batted in. Takes away again, and a 2-2 count. Mesoraco spells that last name M-E-S-O-R-A-C-O. Mesoraco. 2-2 pitch, pulled on the ground wide to third. Uribe is on it, hits it across to first in time. So we had a leadoff single by Zach Cozart, and then Billingsley has turned right around to get everybody else 7 in a row. And the batter now is Homer Bailey. Homer Bailey has 4 hits, 3 runs batted in, and has struck out about a third of the time. That's not bad at all for a pitcher. So 1 out, 3rd inning, 2-0 Dodgers, and the fastball jumps in for a strike. Came up there at 91. 0-1 the count to Homer Bailey. Now the strike 1 pitch on the way. Homer takes inside. 1-1 the count. Billingsley fussing on the mound for the moment. Bailey in and out of the box. Now they hook up. 1 ball and 1 strike. Fastball on the outside corner for a strike. 1-2. Chad Billingsley trying to turn things around. He's 4-7. 3-game losing streak. Right-hander's 1-2 pitch coming up, and that's in the dirt, blocked by Ellis. This is game 1 of the 3-game series. Johnny Cueto and Chris Capuano tomorrow night. That ought to be something. Cueto is 9-4. Capuano is 9-3. Then Mike Leake and Aaron Harang in the 6-10 game Wednesday, July 4th. 2-2 pitch on the corner. He knew it for strike 3. That's 5 strikeouts for Chad Billingsley with 2 outs here in the 3rd inning. He's now retired 8 in a row. For Chad, his very first game this year at San Diego, he struck out at 11, and he has had 8 strikeouts 3 times in a game. Here's Cozart, who fouled off a lot and then singled to right. Takes an off-speed pitch in for a strike. So Billingsley really zeroed in. 0-1 the count to Zach, hitting .248. Strike 1 pitch is a little low. 1-1 the count. Reds are very, very high on Cozart. Billingsley trying to get him and keep the streak alive. Now the 1-1 pitch on the way to the Red shortstop. He tries to hold up. It's going to cost a strike, and the count 1-2. So Zach Cozart waiting, and Billingsley. Chad ready, and his 1-2 pitch on the way is taken low. 2-2 the count. Cozart back up, waiting. He'll be 27 in August, and the 2-2 pitch is poked into right field. So he's the one man so far who's able to give Billingsley a bad time with 2 singles to right field. The only 2 hits the Reds have. And the batter now will be Drew Stubbs. Interesting as Drew Stubbs checks in. Big, strong, free swinger. 2 years ago, 22 home runs, so far 8. But how many players in Major League Baseball history have struck out 200 times in a season? Only 2. One of them, you may remember, played a lot of third base for the Arizona Diamondbacks, and that was Mark Reynolds. He struck out 223 times 3 years ago with Arizona. He also struck out 211 and 204. Well, the other is the fellow that we're watching right now, Drew Stubbs, who struck out a breathtaking 205 times last year. Stubbs looks at a strike, and 0-1 the count. The year before the 205, he struck out only 168, but he just went wild last year. 0-1 the count to Drew. Center fielder made a good strong throw, made it very close before Loney could score on the fly ball. He holds up on a pitch that gets the inside corner, and the count 0-2. Drew is 6'4", a 200-pounder. He has Cozart at first with 2 out. 2-0 Dodgers, top of the 3rd inning. In high school, Stubbs was quite a kid. He was a top English, math, and Spanish student in the school. He was also the salutatorian of his class. Here's the strike 2 pitch instead. Billingsley off the rubber. He quarterbacked the high school football team. He was a member of 2 state champion relay teams. And during his idle time, he played basketball. Drew Stubbs. He was everything in high school. 0-2 the count for Drew. Billingsley very deliberate, watching Cozart, and then backs off the rubber. Cozart 2 for 2 in stolen bases. Not much. Stubbs with the power to hit it out. He had 22 home runs in 2010, dropped to 15 last year, and so far he has 8 this year. Strike 2 pitches, a pitch out. Cozart is not going. So the Reds are playing their 79th game. The Dodgers are playing their 81st game. So Dusty Baker hasn't quite reached the halfway mark, and Don Mattingly has. 1-2 to count. Billingsley, a long look in, now set. A check of Cozart, and the pitch to Stubbs, swung on and missed. He strikes out a second time. That's a half a dozen strikeouts for Billingsley in 3 innings. And at the end of 2.5 innings, Dodgers are a very strong performance by Chad Billingsley. He's made 49 pitches, and he has struck out 6 in 3 innings, allowing the Reds just 2 hits, singles from the same man, Zach Cozart. So in the bottom of the 3rd, it'll be Herrera, Ellis, and Hairston. Herrera led off and struck out in the 1st inning against David Bailey, known to the world as Homer. Right-hander looks in to get a sign, and first pitch off speed on the outside corner for strike, and the count 0-1. Bailey, both feet on the rubber, looks down to get a sign. Homer turns, ready. Now the strike 1 pitch, and it's low and away. 1 ball, 1 strike. Homer Bailey is a country boy. He is a down-home Texan. Wears boots and a cowboy hat. Raised on the farm. And if he's not playing baseball, he is out there hunting something. Here's the 1-1 pitch inside. Ball 2, 2-1. Among other things, he would hunt deer and older boar as Herrera waits. People asked him, what's the biggest boar you ever hunted down? Said it was about 400 pounds. Herrera fouls another pitch, and the count 2-2. Hobbies? Well, because he likes to hunt so much, he likes to repair older rifles. Reads a lot of books and magazines on hunting, and likes to study the physics of the sport. What'll the wind do affecting a shot from 300 yards away? 2-2 pitch is swung on. Nubber out in front of the plate. Bailey picks it up and throws him out. So Herrera thrown out by Homer Bailey. 1 away, and the batter will be A.J. Ellis.
Catcher, A.J. Ellis.
So A.J. Ellis hitting .286 will be facing Homer Bailey. Ellis grounded to short in the 1st inning, 0 for 1. Dodgers 2 runs, 3 hits. The Reds no runs, 2 hits, and we're in the 3rd. Right-hander Bailey deals, fastball up and in, ball 1. 1-0 to A.J. Bailey was so well thought of by the Reds, first round pick. His bonus was over $2 million. The 1-0 pitch on the way, and that's taken low, ball 2-0. He hasn't done what they had hoped to do, not yet. His high last year, he won 9 games. Now the 2-0 pitch on the way, swung on and foul back. When a kid who's on the farm or wears a cowboy hat and boots and gets that kind of money, what do you think he did with it? Well, you know, you figure maybe buy a car, jewelry for the wife, or a big house. Nope. He bought 2 more guns and a top of the line scope for the rifle. Next pitch foul back, still 2-2. Dodgers in the first inning with 2 out. Jerry Hairston homered, and in the second inning, 2 base hits and a walk netted a run, and the Dodgers lead 2-0. Might have been more. Uribe rounding second too wide, and they nailed him to slow down the rally. The 2-2 pitch on the way, and Ellis holds up but not able to hold up and strikes out. That would be the strikeout number 3 for Homer Bailey. So Jerry Hairston came up in the first inning, and of course the Dodgers not a home run team, but Bailey served one up, and Hairston hit it in right into the bullpen, right at the edge of the pole, and the Dodgers take a 2-0 lead, and this will be his second time around. And looking at Homer Bailey and Hairston, Hairston is now 2 for 4, including the home run. 1 ball and no strikes the count to Jerry Hairston. Homer ready, and the 1-0 pitch on the way. Popped up on the infield. Third baseman Frazier in fair ground. If you're keeping score, the plate umpire indicated fair. Dodgers go quickly, and at the end of 3, they still lead the Reds 2-0.
Made in California in an actual aircraft hangar.
Chad Billingsley through 3 innings has allowed just 2 hits. He's made only 49 pitches, and he has a half a dozen strikeouts. So now Phillips, Bruce, and Frazier, and Brandon Phillips struck out in the first inning, and promptly hits a hopper speared at short by Cruz, who throws him out. So Luis Cruz gets his first chance at short to handle a ball after driving in a run. 1 away, and Jay Bruce coming up. Phillips, by the way, going after the first pitch. That's no surprise. You know what he was hitting on the first pitch? 370 this year, but not that time. So 1 out, and here's Jay Bruce, grounded out, his only at bat. And a line drive by the diving Loney into right field, and Jay will hold on with that long single. So Bruce rings one into right, and the batter will be Todd Frazier. Boy, did he hit that thing. Loney diving at a blur at best. That's the 3rd hit given up by Billingsley. 1 out in the 4th. Jay Bruce standing at first. He is 4 for 4 in stolen bases. That's a lot on a ball club that really doesn't steal a lot. Of course, to get back to Great American Ballpark, that's the home of the home run. So for Dusty Baker, he plays a little bit more like an American League manager at home, where you go for that 3-run home run. And they've hit 87 home runs. Needless to say, the Reds have not been shut out at home. 1 ball and no strikes to Todd Frazier. 2-0 Dodgers, 4th inning. 2-0 the count. A.J. Ellis going out for the moment now to talk to Billingsley. The Reds signed Frazier for a bonus over $800,000. He was a what they call a compensation pick. The Giants signed Rich Aurelia, and so the Reds had the pick, and they signed Todd Frazier out of Rutgers University. 2 balls and no strikes to the Pleasant man from Point Pleasant, New Jersey. The 2-0 pitch. Popped in the air, foul. Loney backtracking down the line. So Frazier fouls out for the second out, and Chris Heisey coming up.
Coming to the plate, number 28. Chris
Heisey grounded at third in the second inning. The Reds, of course, really miss Joey Votto, just as the Dodgers miss Matt Kemp and Andre Ethier. I mean, Votto was hitting .350, 14 home runs, 47 runs batted in, and 33 doubles. But he's sidelined with the bad knee. Right. 1 or 2 players made such a tremendous difference. You know all about what's happened with the Dodgers without Kemp, without Ethier. You look at the Philadelphia Phillies without Chase Utley and Ryan Howard, they're last place. You just can't afford to lose the 2 powers in your lineup. And Matt Kemp can write the book. One other thing about Matt Kemp, he's going to DH tomorrow in Rancho Cucamonga and will pretty much play from now until the break at Rancho. There's a line drive by the glove of Uribe. Uribe reached up as an easy play and never touched it. Wow, he's got to be in shock that that thing went by him. Watch this. It's, oh yeah, right there. Okay, gotcha. Oh.
First baseman, number 43, Miguel Cairo.
So we'll assume that's a base hit. 2 on, 2 out, and Miguel Cairo coming up. Cairo struck out in the second inning, playing first base in the absence of Joey Votto. That will be considered a base hit. 2 on, 2 out, 4 hits off Billingsley. Dodgers lead 2-0. Fouled away. 0-1 to Cairo. For Cairo to play for Votto, I mean, Joey has 14 home runs. Miguel has nada. Nothing. But he'll give you the best shot. 38 years old. Played with 9 different teams. He was with the Reds the last couple of years. And that's going to go to the backstop. And the runners move up 90 feet. So on the wild pitch, Bruce goes to third. Heisey goes to second. He's now the tying run. That just ran away from the mid of A.J. Ellis. For Chad Billingsley, that would be his 4th wild pitch. 1-1 to count to Miguel Cairo, who's hitting just 145. And lifts one foul and out of play. The official score now says pass ball, and we will certainly go with that. So second and third, the line drive by Heisey that went right by Uribe, and then the pass ball. 1-2 the count. Fouled away. What happens with the Reds, for instance, yesterday, they were losing 4-3, and with 1 out in the 9th inning against the Giants, they had the bases loaded. But they didn't have Joey Votto. They had to have Wilson Valdez, who's hitting .237, who struck out. Well, now here, with first base open, they have Cairo instead of Votto, down 2-0. 1-2 the count. Another foul ball. Cairo, with that 145 batting average, has been in 31 games. He does have 3 doubles and a triple. And the one thing, he certainly tries to make contact. Struck out tonight, but he's only struck out 5 times in about 30 some odd at bats. 1-2. Just held up. 2-2. So Billingsley trying to fight his way out of the jam. Juan Uribe just missing that line drive. A.J. Ellis just missing the fastball. Slow curveball. Strike 3 call. The Cairo completely overmatched on that slow curve, and it's even slower than it looked on TV. No run from AT&T U-verse. Visit AT&T.com/freeyourtv. Rethink possible. By El Pollo Loco, crazy you can taste. And by the full line of fuel-efficient vehicles at your Southern California Toyota dealers. Dodgers lead the Reds 2-0, bottom of the 4th inning. Dodgers had Hairston homer in the first, and Luis Cruz fly ball picked up James Loney from third for the other run. Now it's the Dodger turn to swing the bat again. Rivera, Loney, and Uribe. Little roller foul. 0-1 the count. We were talking a moment ago about how the Reds really miss Votto, just as the Dodgers miss Kemp. Well, the Reds had second and third 2 out. Dusty had them go head-to-head with Cairo and struck him out, and it brings up the point. What the Reds are doing with 2 out and runners in scoring position. Fly ball, shallow right. Bruce right there. 1 away. Anyway, the Reds, with runners in scoring position and 2 outs this year, are hitting .194. Joey Votto, with runners in scoring position and 2 outs, is hitting .429. You get the idea. So 1 away. Here's Loney. Single, worked his way around and just did beat the throw from center fielder Drew Stubbs back in the 2nd inning. That's a strike. 2 runs, 3 hits for the Dodgers, no runs, 4 hits for the Reds, and we're in the bottom of the 4th inning. On deck, Juan Uribe. That's a little low. 1-1. Loney 2 home runs, 23 RBIs. Homer Bailey, who has 10 quality starts, so he's pitched very well. We told you the bullpen let 3 of his possible victories get away. On the corner, 1-2. Now Mesoraco going out to talk to Bailey for the moment. We mentioned it earlier, the fact Bailey's been doing very well, especially on the road. He's 3-0. The Reds are 4-0 in his starts on the road. His earned run average is 1.8. And his strikeout rate has been better than 3-1. 1-2. Foul back. Dodgers scoring in the first and in the second. Tomorrow night, Johnny Cueto with a record of 9-4. Dodgers counter with Chris Capuano with a record of 9-3. Fastball sprayed foul off to the left. Still 1-2 to James. Oh, it is summertime. When the game started, temperature 71 degrees. The moon looks like a hole in the sky right now. Two and two, the count to Loney. Homer Bailey Made 45 pitches in the first 3 innings. He's got Uribe to contend with after Loney. Fastball just missed inside. 3-2. Fastball grounded wide of third. Todd Frazier is on it. 2 down. And the batter, Juan Uribe. Uribe walked in the second inning, rounded second base on a base hit to right field, and they made him pay for it. Tim Wallach looking down. Tim had an old teammate years ago, now the bench coach for the Reds, Chris Spire. 1 ball and no strikes. There's Chris. Sparkled as a shortstop, especially for the San Francisco Giants. 1 ball and no strikes. 2-0. We were talking before about Homer Bailey as a first-round pick, but the Reds have not been lucky at all with first-round pitching. 2-1 the count. In fact, the last starting pitcher of first rounders who proved the organization right for drafting him in the first round was a hard-throwing left-hander by the name of Don Gullett. Well, that's 1969. Foul back. 7 of the others between Bailey and Gullett, Payne, Reed, King, Jones, Howington, Sowers, Brewer, they're still looking for their first major league win. In fact, the last first rounder as a starter to win a game for the Reds, you go back to the 1994 selection, C.J. Nitkowski. So it is a sizable gamble, of course, to give first round money to any kid, especially out of high school. 2-2. Foul back. I'll say one thing. I do remember Don Gullett, and boy, did he throw hard. Wow. The Reds had another fella. You know, you talk about Sandy Koufax and Bob Feller and guys who really throw hard. They had a big right-hander named Jim Maloney. He threw as hard, I think, as humanly possible, except perhaps for the kid they have now, Chapman. Popped up, right side. Cairo and Phillips. Cairo. So a nice, easy inning this time for Homer Bailey. 4 innings are in the books, and the Dodgers still lead 2-0. The Dodgers and Angels square off in a pitcher's duel between Jared Weaver and Chad Billingsley. The Angels tallied 5 hits, while the Dodgers failed to record a single one. But it was the Dodgers who would score the only run of the game to squeak out an unconventional 1-0 victory.
This is a first and hopefully the last. But, you know, it's a win, and we'll take it any way we can.
And with that, we go to the 5th inning with the Dodgers leading the Reds 2-0. Devin Mesoraco, the catcher, then Homer Bailey and Zach Kozar in that order. Mesoraco grounded to third in the 3rd inning. Devin 0 for 1. Billingsley has allowed 4 hits, but nothing else. Way out in front of the change, 0-1. The pride of Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania, Devin Mesoraco. 0-2. Because to be a catcher with Cincinnati, you are devoured by the shadow of Johnny Bench. Whoa. 1-2, no swing. 1 ball and 2 strikes. 2-2. Mesoraco, like so many, had Tommy John surgery back in August of 2005, but bounced back. 2-2. A couple of years ago, Mesoraco also suffered a pair of thumb injuries. He had a problem with the left thumb from the pounding the catching, and then he took a ball off the right thumb, sliding to break up a double play. He had to have surgeries to both thumbs. Down he goes. So Billingsley now has struck out 8 in 4 1/3. High fastball way out of the strike zone. 1 away, and Homer Bailey is struck out coming up. Fouled away. 0-1. Reds, as we told you, especially in their ballpark, have not been shut out. They have been shut out twice on the road. Little nubber. It'll be Billingsley plenty of time. 2 out in the 5th inning. Chad and the Dodgers leading 2-0. And Zach Cozart, the shortstop, is 2 for 2. Each time Zach has gone the other way to right field. Cozart has everyone singing his praises with his fielding ability, and he is probably hit. Oh, wow. Take a look. It hit him on the helmet. Thank God for that. Right there. But nevertheless, it's only a helmet. That was probably a 90-mile-an-hour fastball that got him, too. Well, a boy out of Mississippi and living in Tennessee, the kid who dyed his hair blonde each year, no longer doing that. I want to make sure anxious teammates. Well, Cozart will apparently be taken out of the game, which is a smart move. He might smile a little bit at what Dusty Baker says to him, but he's done for the night. You know, you forget about it. You say, well, thank goodness he's okay. He's on his feet and he's fine walking off. Really? I mean, don't you think he's got all night to think about having just been hit in the head? Will that affect his play tomorrow? Wilson Valdez will run for him. And I do remember, having been around long enough to remember the early days of the helmet and how some of the veteran ball players would tease the guys wearing helmets on the Pittsburgh team. They used to call them soapbox drivers, because way back when you used to see the kids with a big apple box strapped to a 2x4 with little roller skates at either end, and they had races and they wore helmets. Well, it took us a long time, begging, pleading, crying, to get coaches to finally wear a helmet, but it wouldn't go the distance. Ego, I think, macho got in the way. they wouldn't take the ear flaps. But every time someone is hit and he's wearing a helmet, you have to sigh in relief. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Cozart at first. Valdez running for him. Drew Stubbs waiting at the plate. 8 home runs, 19 runs batted in. Wilson Valdez does not have a stolen base. Stubbs has struck out twice, but he does have 8 home runs, 19 runs batted in. Bounce it back to Billingsley. Lobs it to first. Nice inning. Nice inning for everybody but Zach Cozart, that's for sure. And at the end of 4 1/2, it's still Dodgers 2, Reds nothing. By Jerry Hairston, who had one of his finest years when he was with the Reds. He hit .326 one year with Cincinnati. And Chad Billingsley has struck out 8 in a brilliant 5 innings. We go to the bottom of the 5th, 2-0 Dodgers. And it'll be Van Slyke, Cruz, and Billingsley. And a strike to Scott. Van Slyke single to right field in the 2nd inning. 0-1. That dramatic home run against the Cardinals. Remember, he swung on a 3-0 pitch to win the game. By the way, talking about winning the game, the Padres are leading the Diamondbacks 5-1 in the 7th inning. Fouled away. And remember, the Diamondbacks have won 10 of the last 11 home games. They've won 4 straight at home. They've won 2 straight, 4 out of 6 against San Diego, and all of that is blown away by the Padres tonight. High fly ball to Drew Stubbs. 1 away. A little trivia question coming your way. Matt Kemp is an all-star for the 2nd straight year. Which 3 outfielders in Dodger history have been all-stars 3 straight years? I'll give you the answer in a little while. Luis Cruz, not a kid, 28 years old, takes a strike. First at bat as a Dodger. Fly ball deep enough to center to get Loney home from 3rd. 1-1. While at Albuquerque, Luis Cruz was hitting .318. Bounce into the box. 2 out in the 5th. Still 2-0 Dodgers. And Chad Billingsley coming up. By the way, when the Reds come up in the 6th inning, they'll have the heart of the order: Brandon Phillips, Jay Bruce, and Todd Frazier. Brandon Phillips struck out, grounded out. Bruce grounded out and single. Frazier struck out and fouled out. One ball and no strikes. 2-0 to Chad. Struck out in the 2nd inning. And ball 3. Bailey has walked 1. Uribe in the 2nd inning. Right, 3-1. Reds here tomorrow night, Cueto and Capuano. And again Wednesday at 6:10, Leake and Harang. Fastball hit into right field, base hit. So Billingsley has become very handy with the bat. He now has 7 hits. So Chad, a 2-out single, and the batter is Elian Herrera. 2 runs, 4 hits for the Dodgers, no runs, 4 hits for the Reds. Fouled away. One of the things the Dodgers have done well, one of many, they've played 32 one-run games, and they've won 18 of them. The Reds in one-run games are under 500. Comebacker, and that will be that. 1, 2, 3. No runs, a hit, a man left, and at the end of 5, 2-0 Dodgers. Johnny Podres struck out 8 consecutive Philadelphia Phillies. It was game 1 of a doubleheader. Then on July 3rd, they were off. On July 4th, for good measure, they played a day game and then a night game. And over those 4 games, the Dodgers scored 32 runs, and the Phillies scored a grand total of 5. And among others, Sandy Koufax beat Philadelphia 16-1. They didn't see Don Drysdale, who won his 15th game shortly thereafter. 50 years ago today. Let's get back to this one. Adam Kennedy is now at third base, taking over for Juan Uribe. Dodgers lead 2-0. Brandon Phillips, followed by Jay Bruce, and then Todd Frazier. Phillips hitting .283, ball 1. Brandon has won the National League Gold Glove Award 3 of the last 4 years. In fact, last year he was just one of only 6 players voted to the All-Star team who also won both the Gold Glove and Silver Slugger awards. The others, Troy Tulowitzki, Adrian Gonzalez, Jacoby Ellsbury, Adrian Beltre, and Matt Kemp. So Brandon Phillips, quite a player, and of course the Reds feel he should certainly be on this year's All-Star team, and he's not. Of course, there are bad feelings, I guess, all over, not just Dusty Baker angered about Tony La Russa. Fouled away. Sandy Alderson of the New York Mets was upset that Pablo Sandoval got more votes than David Wright. And as Alderson said, a city of 8 million was outvoted by a city of 800,000, meaning, of course, New York and San Francisco. You can't please everybody, that's for darn sure. 2-2 the count to Brandon Phillips. 31 years old. Signed with the Montreal Expos. And strokes it into left center field. Nobody there. So that's an extra base hit. Brandon Phillips steaming into second base for the leadoff double. So with a runner at second, breaking ball, Phillips just went down and stroked it, and that thing jumped out. For Brandon, as he talks briefly to Jerry Hairston, after all they were teammates, he has 12 doubles, a triple, and 10 home runs. Now Jay Bruce. Big curveball for a strike. Bruce grounded to second, single to right, got as far as third on a pass ball. 1 ball and 1 strike. Dodgers lead 2-0. We're moving right along here in the 6th inning. Cruz directly behind Phillips, and ground ball to the hole, base hit. So they lose the position with Cruz trying to take steps away from Phillips, way over to his left. And Bruce goes the other way. So the left-hand hitter just punches it and finds the gap right there. No way that Cruz could get back. So Bruce is 2 for 3. Runners at first and third, nobody out. Dodgers lead 2-0. Todd Frazier has struck out and fouled out. Frazier hitting .264. 8 home runs, 24 runs batted in. And a strike. 0-1. Todd's older brother Jeff was an All-American outfielder, drafted in the 3rd round by the Tigers. He had another brother who spent 6 years in the Marlin organization. 1 ball and 1 strike. Todd was drafted 8 years ago by the Rockies, but opted to go to college. He must be a very, very good card player. It was 4 years ago, and Frazier won a big tournament, and he's also a good hitter. Line drive single, the run is in, and the Reds have runners at first and second, and the Dodger lead now is 2-1. It was 4 years ago Todd Frazier, that is, defeated 560 other players and won $10,000 first prize in the Reds Community Fund Celebrity Poker Tournament. What did he do with the money? He turned the prize money back to the Reds Community Fund. Nice man. Not if you're trying to get him out. So Rick Honeycutt going out to talk to Chad Billingsley. Phillips opened up with a double. Bruce then singled. Now Frazier singles to knock in the run. Josh Lindblom begins to warm up in the Dodger bullpen, and the batter is Chris Heise. 2 runs, 4 hits for the Dodgers, 1 run, 7 hits for the Reds. Heise is a good bunter. That doesn't mean that Baker is going to play sacrifice. Just the fact that Heise has 3 bunt singles this year. So 2 on. You have Bruce at second, Frazier at first, a run in, nobody out, and ball 1. Heise hitting .264, 2 home runs, 15 runs batted in. Mark Berry, the pride of Oxnard, the third base coaching box. Billy Hatcher over at first. 1-0. And a strike. Dusty flashing a sign to Mark Berry. 1-1. Dodgers 2, Reds 1, nobody out, 6th inning. Chopper slowly to Cruz. He has to throw on the run to get him, and the runners move up. So Bruce advances to third. He's the tying run. Frazier's now at second, and with 1 out, they leave it up to Miguel Cairo, who has struck out twice. Cairo does not have a sacrifice. Bruce has 4 stolen bases with 1 out. You have Devin Mesoraco, who is 0 for 2 hitting behind him. So the first thought is, would they possibly squeeze? Nope. Chopper to third. The throw to the plate by Kennedy, and that takes care of the sliding Bruce. So Adam Kennedy gets the ball to home plate in a hurry, and Bruce is nailed. Nice play by Adam to get the angle. Nice tag at the other end of it by Ellis. 5-2 if you're scoring. Frazier goes to third. Cairo safely aboard at first. And here's Devin Mesoraco. First and third, 2 out, and the Dodger lead 2-1. Miguel Cairo 1 for 1 in stolen bases. You certainly wouldn't expect them to do any running. You have the pitcher Homer Bailey following Mesoraco. One ball and no strikes. Over at third, Todd Frazier. At first, Miguel Cairo. Mesoraco, a young fellow who certainly is pressing. With runners in scoring position and 2 out, he is 0 for 13. One ball and 1 strike. Keeping an eye on 38-year-old Cairo. So Phillips opened with a double. Bruce and Frazier followed with singles for a run. Heisey grounded out. Cairo grounds out. And now the 1 ball, 1 strike count to Mesoraco. One and 2. Mesoraco in the minor leagues never put up big numbers except maybe in the Carolina League. He hit about .330, but he is certainly not that kind of a hitter. 1 and 2 the count. Two and 2. So the deuces are wild for sure. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out, 2 on, 2-1 Dodgers. Mesoraco has struck out about 25% of the time. Two and 2. Ball 3. So Cairo will be going on the pitch. Waiting on deck, Homer Bailey. Loney letting his right-hander know that he's not holding Cairo. 3 and 2 to Mesoraco. There goes Cairo, fouled away. We're in the 6th. The Reds are broken through for 1. Dodgers lead 2-1. Game 1 of the 3-game series. Three and 2, so Cairo will be going again. Frazier down the line, and time for the moment. For Billingsley, this is his toughest inning. This will be his 22nd pitch. Cairo goes. Ground ball over third and down the line. It was an off-speed pitch. Tying run scores. Here comes the go-ahead run to score on a double by Mesoraco, who was 0 for 13 with runners in scoring position. Got a slow breaking ball and double down the left field line. Pitch up there, then down there, and Mesoraco comes up with a clutch double. For the young catcher, his 6th double, and he picks up 2 ribbies, and all of a sudden the Reds lead 3-2. So for the boy who could not drive in a run, he drives in 2 in a pressure spot. Three runs, 8 hits. Joey Votto over to the bat rack. puts the helmet away. 1-0 to Bailey. Little nubber back to the box. Billingsley gets it to Loney, but the damage is done. 7 men come to the plate, and the Punxsutawney Kid gets himself a double to drive in 2, and the Reds lead 3-2. Music and smiling with a couple of good reasons. He led off the 6th with the double that led to a 3-run inning, and the Reds are out in front 3-2. There was also base hits by Bruce and Frazier, and then of course the 3-2 slow curveball to Mesoraco, and he promptly knocked that like an apple hanging off a limb. Probably the one pitch that Chad Billingsley would like to have back. Chad had a 24-pitch inning, and now Homer Bailey is leading 3-2. One other thing about that slow curveball to Mesoraco, that was the first 3-ball count of the night for Chad Billingsley, and then tried to fool him with that slow curve, and Mesoraco doubled. So bottom of the 6th, Ellis, Hairston, and Rivera. Strike. 0-2. Ellis grounded to short, struck out, hitting .284. Little low, ball 1. 1-2 the count. Homer Bailey trying to balance his books. He was 5-6 coming in. 3-0 on the road. Fastball, slice, foul. One ball and 2 strikes. We mentioned earlier about Homer Bailey that he needs runs to win. Slicing fly ball that will drop just foul. For Homer Bailey, and we're only talking about what has happened to him during his young career. If his club scores at least 6, his record is 17-4. However, if his club scores 3 to 5 runs in a game, he's only 12-11. He has also made 81 pitches, and remember that thing we told you, after the 76th pitch, the opposition is hitting only .235 against him. Ellis comes up empty, strikes out a second time, and we have 1 out, bottom of the 6th. Remember the trivia question talking about Dodger outfielders in the All-Star game? Which 3 outfielders in Dodger history have been All-Stars 3 or more years in a row? Duke Snider, 7. Joe Medwick, Ducky Joe, 3. Gary Sheffield, 3. Snider, Medwick, and Sheffield. Matt Kemp, 2 years in a row. In for a strike to Hairston, who homered and popped up, 1 for 2. For Hairston, we mentioned it briefly, probably the best year he's had in his fine career was when he was with the Reds. Fly ball going down the line, foul. Back in 2008, he was in 80 games. He hit .326. Hitting .299 right now. Gary has 3 home runs. Most home runs he hit was with the Padres 2 years ago when he hit 10. One and 2 to Jerry. Foul ball. Three runs, 8 hits for the Reds, 2 runs, 4 hits for the Dodgers. Reds are 1 game in front of Pittsburgh in the Central in first place. Dodgers 1 behind the Giants. 2-2. '87 pitches now made by Homer Bailey. Two balls, 2 strikes. Got him. So Hairston is caught looking. Down he goes. 2 strikeouts here to give Bailey 5. And the batter will be Juan Rivera. For Bailey, he is not a particular strikeout pitcher, but he did strike out 7 against Detroit. But that's not really his game. He also struck out 7 Yankees in the middle of May. Well, he has 5 right now. He's walked 1. Oh, and 2. Bailey has a lot of games where he's walked 1 or 2 as you look down on the Dodger bullpen. Josh Lindblom still throwing. 0-2 to Rivera. Grounded to third, flied to right. Did he? Held up. 1-2. David Bailey Jr., better known as Homer for his great-grandfather. Hit in the air to right field, but Jay Bruce is there. So a 1-2-3 inning, and for the pitcher, he has only had that happen twice, and it's 3-2 Reds. Bailey and Chad Billingsley. Billingsley struck out 8. I mean, he was flying through 5 innings, and then he got roughed up in the 6th inning when he made 24 pitches. He wound up making 97 pitches, and you see where Chad has struck out 8. So right now his career in strikeouts 998. Meanwhile, the other side of the coin, Homer Bailey leading 3-2. And he's made 92 pitches and staying in. Josh Lindblom will pick up in the 7th, and it will be Wilson Valdez finishing up for the unfortunate Cozart, who was beamed, and we certainly hope and pray that Zach is okay. Strike, 0-1. So Valdez hitting .234. You might remember he played briefly for the Dodgers. In 2007, he was in 41 games. Hit just .216. He's a good bunter, but he's swinging. Valdez is from Boni in the Dominican Republic. Originally signed back in 1997 for the Montreal Expos. He's 34 years old, 5'11" and about 165. Took him a long time to get to the big leagues. Took him about 6 years. Finally came to the White Sox for, as they say, a cup of coffee. 1-2. Ground ball. Hairston is on it. And we have 1 away. Say, you know, the All-Star voting isn't over quite yet. That's right. You can vote for the final player for each league's roster until Thursday at 1 p.m. So go to Dodgers.com, cast your All-Star game final vote for the last 2 All-Stars. 1 away in the 7th. Drew Stubbs struck out twice, hit back to the box. The number 2 hitter in the lineup, hitting .224. He does have 8 home runs, 19 runs batted in. By the way, they're in the top of the 9th inning in Arizona, and the Padres are leading the D-backs 5-2. Stubbs tries to bunt, leaves it in Ellis mid. 0-2 to Drew. Stubbs lives in Austin, Texas. Ball 1. Strikes out a ton, as we mentioned. His dad ran track. Down he goes again. So Stubbs strikes out 3 times tonight, and that's what you buy when you get him. He has some power, but he has also struck out 68 times now. And with 2 out, Brandon Phillips. That's another first-round pick. Well, here's Brandon. Struck out, grounded out, and then started it all with the double to left center field against Chad Billingsley. Phillips was a second-round pick for the Expos. The Reds as a team have struck out 9 times tonight and 610 so far this year. You pay the price when you hit all the home runs, 87. 0-1. 1 ball and 1 strike. Dodgers have struck out 5 times tonight, 577, and they've hit only 45 home runs. 1-1. 1-2 to count to Brandon. Phillips has been very successful hitting the first pitch. He goes after it a lot. Putting the first pitch in play, he was hitting 370. 1-2. For Brandon, his parents were fine athletes. His father was a wide receiver at Shaw University in Raleigh, North Carolina, where he met his wife, who was a power forward on the basketball team. 2-2. Fouled away. Brandon has an older brother, Jamil, who played in the Rangers system, and he has a sister who was a nationally ranked sprinter and top-ranked basketball player. He also has a brother, little PJ, who's in the Angel organization. 2-2. Check swing foul. Brandon hit the first home run of his major league career back in 2003, and he did it before his mother, his father, his brother, his sister, his high school coach, and his family all sitting behind third base. Big moment for a lot of people to share. Boy, he's got a busy bat. Maybe not quite as whirly-twirly as Gary Sheffield, but his bat is in constant motion once he gets back into the box. Crank that thing up. Three and two. You wonder how anybody can move the bat like that and still catch up to a 90-mile-an-hour fastball, but he can. Chopper to third, Kennedy. So down go the Reds in order. Nice inning for Josh Lindblom. Bottom of the 7th, 3-2 Cincinnati. Home run. So there's not really been much hitting throughout the entire lineup, but then again, that's a refrain you've been humming for quite some time. One-run game, and the Dodgers have excelled in one-run games far more so than the Reds have. As we told you earlier, the Reds are under 500 in one-run games, and the Dodgers are 18-14. So we go to the bottom of the 7th, Loney, Kennedy, and Van Slyke. James Loney singled, grounded to third, scored a run. Strike. Wilson Valdez at short for Zach Cozart. The only change since the game started. Dodgers changed on their side. Kennedy taking over for Uribe. 0-1. We never did get any report on Uribe as to why he came out of the game. We mentioned he took extensive hitting off a tee before the game. Line drive up the middle. Good stop by Graz. So Valdez making a good stop of a bullet up the middle. But once you start making a 360 turn, you're lucky to get it in the neighborhood. He just let it fly, and that'll be that. It'll be a base hit to short. So Loney 2 for 3, and the batter now will be Adam Kennedy. So James, in the words of his manager, had a couple of very good at-bats yesterday. He has certainly had 3 good at-bats tonight. And now here's Adam Kennedy. His first at-bat. Uribe walked and popped up. Uribe rounded second on the base hit by Van Slyke and kind of ran the Dodgers out of a possible big inning. And then on a line drive to left field, that's when he stuck up his glove, and I think he thought he was going to catch it, and it went right by. So I'm not sure if there's something wrong with Juan. We have not heard. Kennedy bunts. The play will be to first. So the tying run now is at second with 1 out. You know, a reminder while we have a time, Wednesday the 4th of July, Military Appreciation Night, and you can enjoy America's favorite pastime and the best fireworks show in the city. Compliments of Northrop Grumman. All fans invited onto the field following the game to watch the show and enjoy patriotic themed music. For tickets, visit Dodgers.com/promotions. So the tying run at second base as Kennedy bunts him over. And now Van Slyke and Cruz trying to pick him up against Homer Bailey. In there. Bailey, who basically may not be a strikeout pitcher, but he certainly is a control artist. He's walked only 1. Van Slyke 1 for 2, hitting 190. In the dirt, a block. Mesoraco lost it for the moment. 1 ball and 1 strike. The bullpens are busy. Todd Coffey, Ronald Belisario up in the Dodger bullpen. Logan Andrusek and Bill Bray throwing in the Reds pen. Bray's a left-hander. 1-1 to count. And a towering fly ball, but that's all it is. Chris Heisey. 2 down. So now Luis Cruz came up from Albuquerque to get a start. D. Gordon resting a leg that cramped on him. Tony Gwynn is now going to run for Loney. Tying run out there. So Loney gets some 5s. Gwynn is the runner. And Cruz had a scoring fly ball and hit back to the box coming up. Two out, 7th inning, 3-2 Reds. That's a strike. Fastball, 0-1. Homer Bailey throwing 94 here in the 7th inning. Number of pitches, he's in the high 90s. Bobby Abreu out on deck. That's going to be driven to right field. Bruce on the dead run makes a spectacular catch. And what a time to do it. That looked like an extra base hit all the way. And Jay Bruce, a National League All-Star, makes an all-star play just like that. No runs, a hit, a man left. 3-2 Reds. By Jay Bruce tonight. How about yesterday up there at AT&T Park? 3rd out. Nope, he has no idea. So from a bad play, a game-losing play yesterday, Jay Bruce makes perhaps a game-saving play tonight. We'll see. And Jay will be leading off in the 8th inning. Dodgers move a lot of people around. First of all, they took Loney out, remember? So Rivera is now at first base. Tony Gwynn came in to run for Loney, and he stays in the game and takes over in center field. Elian Herrera moves over to play right field since Rivera is playing first. And Todd Coffey, who spent 4 or 5 years with the Reds, coming up. He was with the Reds in 05, 6, and 7, and 8 before moving on. Jay Bruce, who made the catch, is also 2 for 3 with the bat. Foul back. The Dodgers put that strange alignment on. They don't do it with any other hitter. They keep the shortstop on his side of the bag, but they take the second baseman Hairston, and he's 20 feet out in right field. When Bruce grounded out in the first inning, Hairston had to rush from the grass to the skin to make the play. 0-2. With all the maneuverings, if you are keeping score, Coffey is batting 9th. Oh, 0-2. Bruce with 17 home runs and 54 runs batted in. Dodgers came as close as his glove to tying up the game. Todd Frazier hitting after him. We're in the 8th. 3-2 Reds. 2-2. Big Todd out of North Carolina, 6'5", give or take 240. At one time over 300. Coffey 1-0 in his 23rd game for the Dodgers. And he'll go to first base. We are checking and find that Juan Uribe suffered a right ankle sprain. I'm not sure if it happened when he rounded second and then bit the bullet in the second inning and stayed in the game. But anyway, Uribe comes out with a right ankle sprain. Bruce aboard, and here's Todd Frazier. So Coffey gives up a walk. strike to Frazier. In looking Billingsley's work in the 5th inning, he had one get away, and he hit Zach Cozart on the head, on the helmet. So no walks. No walks from Lindblom. Now Coffey has walked Bruce. 0-1 to Todd Frazier. Frazier has grounded into 5 double plays. So we'll see where that moves as far as when are they going to run Bruce. Bruce runs pretty well. He's 4 for 4 in stolen bases. That's a strike. 0-2 the count. Todd Frazier, Chris Heisey, and then Miguel Cairo. Three runs, 8 hits for the Reds. 2 runs, 5 hits for the Dodgers. Down and dirty, kicks away, and on the pitch Bruce moves on to second. It'll be a wild pitch. Earlier we had a pass ball in the 4th inning. So now the Reds have a runner at second, nobody out, trying to add to a 3-2 lead. For Todd Coffey, back in September the 9th, 2008, the Reds released Todd. What ticked him off, they released him on his birthday. The current pitching coach at the time, Dick Pohl, didn't like Coffey's stuff. As he said, it turned out to be a philosophical difference. Their philosophy was to go with a 4-seamer away. I wanted to throw the 2-seamer sinker, and they released him. 1-2 the count to Todd Frazier. Bruce at second, nobody out. 3-2 Reds, 8th inning. Fastball slapped down the right field line, in there, going into the corner. In pursuit of it is Herrera, but the ball gets away from him. So Bruce will score, and all the way to third goes Frazier. It is 4-2 in favor of the Reds. So Jay Bruce walked, the wild pitch sets him up, and Frazier then hits it in the corner. Herrera trying to make a sliding stop of the ball, but he couldn't do it. Sinker down and away. That's Coffey's pitch. It'll go as a triple. Here's the attempt, but it hit his foot instead of getting to his glove. So Frazier a triple. Interesting, of the pitches that Coffey throws and the dispute over the 4-seamer and the 2-seamer, it looked like the 2-seam sinker is what sinks him with the triple. So Don Mattingly heading to the mound, and let's see, did Coffey hurt himself as well with all their other problems? 4 runs, 9 hits for the Reds. 2 runs, 5 hits for the Dodgers. A.J. Ellis talking to Coffey. The plate umpire, Bill Welke. And Welke, perhaps if Coffey says he's okay, we'll let him throw 1 or 2. Bill Welke's been an umpire over 28 years. And Bill is nodding in agreement. There's the pitch. Watching Coffey running over to back up on a triple. Still watching. Well, no indication, but they are going to let him toss a couple to see if he is all right. Welke will let him take at least another. No one throwing in the Dodger bullpen. And apparently Todd has convinced everyone, I think. Mattingly's still not ready to lead. All right. So the walk to Bruce, the wild pitch. Frazier triples to right for his second hit and his second run batted in. Now he's trying to get a lift home as he visits with Tim Tashida, the third base umpire. Chris Heisey grounded to third, single to left, grounded to short. Trying to get the run home from third. The infield is up, nobody out, and hammered foul. 0-1. No balls and one strike to Chris. Out of Pennsylvania, went to Messiah College. Oh and 1. Foul back. Heisey thought, well, I had no offers to play pro ball. My career path is pretty clear. I'll get a degree, get an elementary school teaching job, and go about life. Well, he went to a tryout camp with a couple of friends. The Reds camp was his final stop, and that's where they scouted him. They liked what they saw. 0-2 the count to Chris Heisey. One and two. Heisey was a member of the U.S. team in the Futures game 3 years ago. One ball and two strikes. Two and two. Coffey laboring a bit here in the eighth inning. Jamie Wright is now throwing back of him. And we can tell you that the Padres beat the D-backs 6-2. The Giants were idle. Two and two. Fouled away. So Heisey trying to stay alive up there at the plate. Struck out about 20% of the time. Just 2 home runs, 15 runs batted in. At third base, Todd Frazier, who tripled in the run. It's 4-2 Cincinnati. Ground foul the other way. Two and two and another meeting at the mound. So in the inning, Jay Bruce hit by a pitch. Wild pitch to second. Frazier triples him home. It's 4-2 Reds with a chance to add to that. Joey Votto cooling in the dugout. Jay Bruce visiting with teammates as the Reds have come from behind 2-0 and lead 4-2. And Heisey strikes out. So Coffey takes care of him. Here's the Reds box score so far. And as you can see, a lot of busy hitters, except Valdez, who replaced Cozart. Remember, Cozart was 2 for 2 and hit by a pitch. Valdez only had 1 at bat. Stubbs has had a long night, not only 0 for 4, he has struck out 3 times. So a runner at third, 1 out. Here's Cairo. And let's see if they have a play in the works with him. And it's hammered down the line, foul. in and out of the stand. 0-1 the count to Miguel. Cairo was struck out twice. Reached on the fielder's choice when Bruce was cut down at home back in the 6th inning. Todd Coffey trying to settle things down. And a high fly ball right down the line, starting to hook and go foul. Cairo does not have a home run. 5 runs batted in. So the veteran playing first base in place of the All-Star Joey Votto. 0-2 to Miguel. There's Joey. I hope we see him play tomorrow night and or Wednesday. Might even see him play tonight a little bit. Got a bad knee. 0-2. Nice save by Ellis. 1-2 to Cairo. Coffey, the third Dodger pitcher. Billingsley, Lindblom, Coffey. Back in 1996, when Cairo made his major league debut, he doubled on the first big league pitch he saw. Chuck Finley was pitching for the Angels. Did he? Yes, he did. The out will be at first. So with a triple and nobody out, Heisey strikes out, Cairo strikes out. What a wasted opportunity. And the batting out is Devin Mesoraco, the catcher. Bad ball. And Cairo couldn't hold up. Ellis had to keep an eye on Frazier before throwing to first. So Mesoraco and Bailey on deck. We'll see, will they pitch to Mesoraco, who had grounded out, struck out, and then on a 3-2 pitch got what appeared to be a slow curveball and banged it into the left field corner. This time he singles to left to drive in Frazier. Mesoraco was 0 for 13 with runners in scoring position and 2 out, and now he comes up with another clutch base hit and run. So he's driven in 3. The Reds lead 5-2, and Don Mattingly now stops to talk to the plate umpire, which usually means a double switch, and we'll be right back. And then a 6:15 game on Wednesday, July 4th, and then of course the great fireworks show. Dodgers then go over to Arizona for 4, then the All-Star break, and the Dodgers then pick up with San Diego and Philadelphia before going out on a big trip east. So tomorrow, Johnny Cueto and Chris Capuano, Mike Leake and Aaron Harang on Wednesday. Dodgers make a double switch. Dee Gordon comes in along with Jamie Wright. Wright will go in Luis Cruz's spot. Gordon will bat 9th. Todd Coffey made 22 pitches while he was in there and gave up 2 runs. So Jamie Wright trying to get Homer Bailey. Bailey is struck out and twice hit back to the box. You have Mesoraco, the catcher, at first with 2 out, and a slow roller by the mound coming across Kennedy and makes the play. However, not before the Reds break for 2. The key hit, Todd Frazier's triple, 5-2 Cincinnati. And the National League West standings began the night 1 back of the Giants. Should the Dodgers lose, they'd be 1.5 back of the idle Giants. Arizona has already given up a half a round by losing to San Diego. So should the Dodgers lose, they would still be 4 in front of Arizona, but they would be 1.5 games back. Homer Bailey will be working on D. Gordon, Elian Herrera, and A.J. Ellis. Homer has made exactly 100 pitches. And in the 8th inning, D. Gordon will start it off. Luis Cruz, who was brought up and played shortstop tonight. Cruz had a scoring fly ball, hit back to the box, and then lost what appeared to be a game-tying double on that great running catch by Jay Bruce. So here's D. He had a cramp in his leg yesterday. That's a strike. 0-1. D with a home run. He hit it in Colorado. 17 runs batted in. 28 stolen bases. Frazier plays in on the grass. 0-2. Stubbs shaded a little towards left center. So a big gap in right center. Heisey is not as shallow as a lot of left fielders played Gordon, and that's going to bring him in to catch it. So one away here in the 8th inning, and the batter will be Elian Herrera. 103 pitches made by Homer Bailey. Herrera struck out, twice hit back to the box. Elian 0 for 3. Five runs, 10 hits for the Reds, 2 runs, 5 hits for the Dodgers, who led 2-0 going into the 6th inning. Billingsley, for 5 innings, was brilliant, struck out 8. And then things just started to unravel in the 6th inning when Brandon Phillips opened the inning up with a double. 2-0 the count to Herrera. A.J. Ellis on deck. Left-hander Sean Marshall begins to warm up out there in the Cincinnati bullpen. 2-0. And that's low. Herrera looking down to Wallach. Three and 0. In there. So far, Bailey has walked 1. That was Uribe back in the 2nd inning. Fouled away. 3-2. Homer Bailey with Ellis waiting. 3-0 in his last 4 starts. The Reds have won all 4 of those starts on the road. Fastball, down goes Herrera. 6 strikeouts for Homer Bailey. Fastball high, it just took off away. So with 2 out in the 8th inning, A.J. Ellis coming up. He paid attendance tonight. And boy, what a beautiful evening. It was 71 degrees when the game started. 34,493. 34,493. 75% of the time, Bailey's first pitch has been a strike. Again. That makes it 22 out of 29 hitters. His pitch count is up to 110. Some teams give you the pitch count of each pitcher during his time on the mound during the year, but the Reds do not. So Dusty Baker and his pitching coach Brian Price, they know where they are with Homer Bailey. He's now made 112 pitches. It could very well be his last inning. Two and 1. Ball 3. So he went 3-0 to Herrera, came back and struck him out. Now behind 3-1 to Ellis, and Jerry Hairston on deck, who homered in the first inning. Three and two. Tomorrow night, Johnny Cueto 9-4, Chris Capuano 9-3. Wednesday at 6:10 plus fireworks, Mike Leake 3-5, Aaron Harang 5-5. Ethier, Capuano, and Kershaw taken in the action, and down goes Ellis. So 7 strikeouts for Homer Bailey, and at the end of 8, 5-2 Cincinnati. Down in the dugout, he went 8 innings. He made 115 pitches. In his career, he made one game where he made 121 pitches. So the hunter from LaGrange, Texas, goes 8 and shuts the Dodgers down on 2 runs and 5 hits. Remember, should he hold on and win, if the bullpen holds it for him, and they've blown 3 possible wins for him this year. Jamie Wright getting ready to pitch in the 9th inning to the top of the order. But if the bullpen holds on for Homer Bailey, he will have won 4 in a row on the road, and the team will be 5-0 behind him on the road. Here's Wilson Valdez, ball 1. In the 5th inning, Zach Cozart, who had singled to right in the first, singled to right in the third, was hit in the head. Thank the Lord for the helmet. Came out, and Valdez took over for him. Zach walked off under his own power, thank goodness. Two and 0. Strike. 2-1. Valdez, Stubbs, and Phillips in that order. Two and 1. Foul ball. Since 1921, Wilson Valdez won a game for the Phillies in a 19-inning game against the Reds. Yeah, he was the pitcher in 1921, a young left-hander and left-handed slugger named Babe Ruth of the New York Yankees did the same thing. Begin the game as a position player, finish the game as the winning pitcher. Oh, Wilson is still there. Valdez batting .231, 9 runs batted in. Two and 2. Ball 3. When the Dodgers had Valdez, that was back in 2008. After they had made a deal with the Royals to get him, they sold his contract to the Korean League. That's ball 4. For Valdez, he played 4 months in Korea, then went over and played in Japan for the Yakult Swallows. All part of the job, I guess. So Valdez draws the walk. Drew Stubbs struck out 3 times and hit back to the box. 0 for 4. And a strike. Stubbs hitting .223, 8 home runs, 19 runs batted in. Valdez holding at first. and they'll watch him. No balls and 1 strike to Drew Stubbs. Brandon Phillips on deck. And a bunt. Wright quickly throws it off the glove of a diving Gordon. And in the blink of an eye, the Reds have runners at second and third. So Stubbs drops the bunt down, but Wright's throw way offline. Gordon diving at the ball, but he won't be able to do anything but just tick it with the glove. So it'll be an error charged and a fielder's choice. So now the Dodgers really in trouble, down by 3 in the 9th, and the Reds have runners at second and third. Actually, Valdez would have scored if Gordon doesn't at least knock that bad throw down. The infield is up, and Brandon Phillips, ball 1. Phillips has struck out, grounded out, doubled and grounded out, scored a run. Brandon 1 for 4. One ball and no strikes. Off the corner, 2-0 the count. So Jamie's struggling a bit here because of his own throw. Wright 3-2 in his 28th game. Phillips up there hitting .284, 10 home runs, 46 runs batted in, and a foul ball down the line. Brandon Phillips has hit as many as 30 home runs in a game, in a season. He did that in 2007. That year he had 94 RBIs. A couple of years later he had 98. 2-2. Brandon even 6, about 195, 31 years old. Born in Raleigh, North Carolina, lives in Stone Mountain, Georgia, not far from Atlanta. 2-2. And a big bouncer foul down the line. The inscription on the bat is in silver, and boy, the lights really pick it up. When he's swinging that bat around, up here it looks like there's glass at the end of the bat. Really glistens. 2-2 to Brandon Phillips. Ground ball hard to third. Kennedy holds the runners. So Phillips lets a chance to get some runs batted in, get away. 1 out, and the batter will be Jay Bruce. Now let's see if they pitch to Bruce with Todd Frazier on deck. And they are not going to pitch to Bruce. That certainly figured. So in a moment, the Reds will have the bases loaded with 1 out. Todd Frazier with a single and a triple will be coming up. So Wright trying to keep the game within 3. It's 5-2 Reds, trying to break it open here in the 9th. That's ball 4. So the bases are loaded. Jay Bruce has been a big man with the bat and an even bigger man with the glove. On the ball hit by Luis Cruz, he makes a tremendous running catch. Dodgers would have tied up the game if he doesn't make the catch, but he did. Homer Bailey appreciated the big play. So Bruce, Stubbs, and Valdez are all out there. Now with the bases loaded, the Dodgers play back for the double play. Frazier is 2 for 4. Single and a triple. And ball 1. For Frazier, he is grounded into 5 double plays. He has 8 home runs, 26 runs batted in. Valdez, Stubbs, and Bruce are all out there. 1-0. And a strike, 1-1. Frazier, in his young career, has never had a grand slam. And another strike. So Jamie Wright able to get a big out here in the inning, getting Brandon Phillips. 1-2 to Todd Frazier. And a little flare into right center. It's going to drop. 1 run will score. The runners move up 90 feet at a time, and the Reds take a 6-2 lead. So Frazier just puts the bat on the ball. A fly ball single for his 3rd hit and 3 RBIs. Valdez scores. Stubbs goes to 3rd. Bruce goes to 2nd. And Chris Heisey coming up. So 3 runs were charged to Billingsley, 2 to Coffey, and 1 to Wright. Big bounces slowly to the right side. They will get 1, and that's all. And another run scores as Heisey forces Frazier, but Stubbs brings in the run, and that opens it up to 7-2. And the batter will be Miguel Cairo.
First baseman number 43, Miguel Cairo.
So Jay Bruce now over at 3rd. 2 runs are in. Cairo struck out 3 times, reached on a fielder's choice, getting Bruce on a rundown. Foul ball. 0-1 to Miguel. 7-11 for the Reds. 7 runs, 11 hits. Dodgers 2 runs, 5 hits, 1 error. The big play in the inning, of course, was Jamie fielding the bunt and then throwing it away. Ground ball into right field. So Bruce will score. Stopping at 2nd is Heisey. And the rout continues, 8-2 Reds. Cairo going the other way. Nice bit of hitting on his part. So for Dusty Baker, the rage of Riverside. Now Scott Elbert begins to warm up in the Dodger pen. The 8th man in the inning, Devin Mesoraco, the catcher, who had grounded out and struck out and then doubled in a couple in the 6th to give the Reds a lead and singled in another in the 8th. Fouled away. Mesoraco hitting .211, 4 home runs, 12 runs batted in with 3 tonight. So the Reds, 3 in the 6th, 2 in the 8th, 3 in the 9th. That's a strike. 0-2. When the Dodgers come up in the 9th, Hairston, Rivera, and Gwynn. Ryan Ludwig comes out on deck to bat for Homer Bailey. 2 out. Fouled away. Ryan Ludwig, a good player who has never done well here. Just one of those things. Ball players have favorite ballparks, but for Ryan, I don't think he likes to play here very much. 0-2. And that's going to be hit in the air and caught. Coming over for it and putting it away is Van Slyke. So 8 men come to the plate. 3 of them come home to roost. And it is 8-2 Cincinnati. Bottom of the 9th inning. Tomorrow night, 2 fellas who are really on their games going head to head. Johnny Cueto with a record of 9-4 and a great ERA, 2.2. And he'll go up against Chris Capuano, who's having another fine year. He's 9-3, an ERA of 2.6. So they should put on quite a show. Capuano and Cueto, 9-game winners in Game 2. Aroldis Chapman, who throws as hard or harder than anybody around. The numbers tell you that he really is unusual. He also, against Milwaukee, got the last out and got carried away with a strikeout, and he was so excited he did a couple of somersaults, which really offended his own manager, Dusty Baker, who called over and apologized to Milwaukee's Ron Roenicke. Roenicke didn't even have any idea what Chapman had done. He didn't see it. But anyway, they have talked to the young man and said, look, that might be okay in Cuba, but not over here. That's not a big league thing to do. I'm sure Aroldis was a little embarrassed. He's 24 years old, 6'4", 185. He is averaging almost 16 strikeouts per 9 innings. And he'll be facing Jerry Hairston. And a strike. And he hits 100 on the gun. They ooh and they ah about a pitch that he made to Tony Gwynn, whom you might see tonight. When Tony was with San Diego, Chapman threw a fastball that was clocked at 105. That's going to go foul down the line, and Bruce can't reach it. 0-2 to Jerry Hairston. Aroldis Chapman at one time was trained by his father to be a boxer. He didn't start to play baseball till he was 11, and he was a first baseman until he was 15. 2009, Chapman left the Cuban national team in the Netherlands, defecting so that he could pitch over here. And that will do it for Hairston. 8 Dodgers have struck out tonight, 7 against Bailey. So 1 out. And the batter now, Juan Rivera, 0 for 3. When Chapman defected, he went to Barcelona, Spain, they tell me, and one of his first purchases when he got there was a Barcelona soccer team jersey with his name and number 52 on the back. Well, he's changed the number to 54, and he has changed the jersey to Cincinnati. 0-1. Fastball. Now he's got him 0-2. The report on Zach Cozart, and we certainly hope he'll be all right. He was beaned by Billingsley in the 5th inning. Quote, a mild concussion, reevaluation tomorrow, and we certainly wish the shortstop well. 0-2. Wow. Just did get a little bit of that. That was clocked at 102. 6'4", 185. He's an all-star. He'll be going to Kansas City. By the way, tell you about his car. At least it was his car. I don't know if he's still driving it. He had a Lamborghini. And the vanity plates on the car read 102 mph. And then to correct that, he showed up last year to spring training with a tattoo on his left wrist of a baseball with a trail of flames and the inscription 105. Ground ball up the middle, base hit. A 102-mile-an-hour fastball, and Rivera singles to center. And the batter now will be Tony Gwynn, and I'm sure both men remember that 105-mile-an-hour fastball. It was in San Diego. Eight to 2 Reds, bottom of the 9th inning. The Reds, of course, think so highly of Chapman. 2 years ago, they signed him to a 5-year deal. Fastball, strike, 101. So Gwynn probably backs out and thinks he's losing it. 101 from that 105 pitch. One ball, one strike. Chapman's earned run average is under 2, but his record is 4-4. He has 9 saves. Fastball fouled away. Sean Marshall, another left-hander in the Cincinnati bullpen, he has 9 saves. So Chapman came in 36 innings, 64 strikeouts. Now he has 65. 1-2 the count to Gwynn. And another left-hand hitter, Adam Kennedy, on deck. Ouch. What did that hit? The bat. That was 103. In fact, come to think of it, if it hadn't hit anything but the bat, we'd have known that immediately. One ball and 2 strikes. Boom. 102, and down goes Gwynn. So 2 out. Rivera at first. Adam Kennedy coming up. Wow. What a God-given talent. There's no way you can teach anybody to throw the baseball that hard. No way. So now Kennedy with Van Slyke on deck. Kennedy walked, popped up. Actually, Uribe walked and popped up, and then Kennedy bunted. Down to second base goes Rivera. Defensive indifference. Oh, and 1. One ball and 1 strike. So Chapman staying right around 100, 101, 102. You think with that velocity he'd be a lot bigger than 185. #1. Of course, a whip doesn't have to be too big either, come to think of it. And he's built like a whip. 6'4", 185. So Kennedy still up there. 1-2 to Adam. 2 out, 9th inning. The Reds trailing 2-0 going into the 6th inning, have just taken the game into their own hand and scored 8 runs in the last 4 innings. Dodgers scored in the first and the second and have not been heard from since. 1-2 to Adam Kennedy. Fastball grounded to first. The run to the bag by Cairo, and that's the ball game. No runs, a hit, a man left. For the Reds to win it, 8 runs, 12 hits, no errors. The Dodgers 2 runs, 6 hits, and 1 error. The Reds have now won 5 straight and 6 of the last 7 here in Dodger Stadium against the Dodgers. Tomorrow night we'll be on KCAL 9. That'll be Cueto and Capuano. A reminder to stay tuned for Dodgers Live coming up next. Till tomorrow night, good night, everybody.